Let's go back to the scene of the press conference on Western Road, I guess. Labour's prospective candidate for Stafford, Kate Godfrey, is talking with Matt Sargent.
They wrapped it up as though they've got 3 big presents under the Christmas tree, and actually there was very little to it. So we are going to go to a midwife-led maternity unit. Actually, most mums in Stafford reject that, they don't feel safe with it. We knew that that was probably what they were going to give back and present as a community victory. The other things that they've offered us, they just don't add up. So they're talking about critical care, but on a case-by-case basis. They're talking about making assessments. Well, that's not really how hospitals to deliver services. What we are talking about is sending people to Stoke consistently, sending them overnight, and ill children are still going to have to go up to Stoke.
With the midwife-led unit, they said 50% of births will be able to take place at Stafford. What do you think about that?
Well, it's not the community, and communities elsewhere have said that actually they prefer to have an obstetrician there to support them, and I think we'll find that that's the case here too. Now, I'm glad that we'll still be able to have some babies born in Stafford. I think that's a testament to how strongly the community felt about this. But there is a larger issue here, which is that they have said consistently that this is about the deficit and it's about making the sums add up. And the TSA sums don't add up. They haven't added up in the room today. We're talking about spending £110 million now to try and save £12 million a year. They haven't managed to solve the deficit. And we're now talking about building new facilities up at Stoke and in other areas to deliver services that we could be delivering in Stafford today.
The initial comment that they came up with, 9 out of 10 visits by patients will remain at Stafford. Do you think that's a true comment or not, by what you said so far?
Well, there's all sorts of people use hospitals for different things, and it's good that we're able to keep some of the residual community care here, but actually hospitals are complex beasts. So you have the services that provide the financial underpinnings for hospital care, and we've always known that a lot of this TSA process has been about attacking those services that fund our hospital and putting the future of the hospital itself in jeopardy, and that hasn't changed in the second draft.
And just one other thing, they mentioned about rotating staff between both hospitals. How do you think is that going to be a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, again, they've always said this is about bringing staff down to Stafford, but now that these services such as critical care are going to be essentially elective, they're going to decide whether they can deliver them, that's not a basis for building a compelling staffing rota. I mean, we can't have the certainty that they told us that they were trying to achieve. Let's remember this is a 4-year spending settlement that they're talking about, so they're going to spend a lot of money in 4 years to move things, and then we don't have any certainty thereafter. And one thing that I'm really keen to talk about is, well, local Tories have been saying they're trying to save the hospital. Up in Westminster, they're passing something called Clause 118, which will make it impossible to take this kind of hospital downgrade to judicial review. They are taking away our capability to fight back. They didn't like what happened at Lewisham, and this is all going on in the background. It's going to make it very difficult to keep these services in Stafford where we need them.
So you think they're keeping us sweet for a bit until they can stop us fighting back?
Yeah, I do, and I think it's no coincidence that they moved this process to the week before Christmas, when everyone has got a lot to think about and they're at home with their families. I think we are now in a 3-month period while this goes, first back to Monster and then to Jeremy Hunt. I think they're hoping that we will get to strike, that we won't focus on it, we won't understand the real sense of...
That's Kate Godfrey, the prospective candidate for Stafford, the late Labour candidate, talking with Matt Sargent at the press conference, which finished some time ago.